Okay, let's start. In last section, we learned about while loop, and today we are going to start with our for loop. So there are two loops which are really necessary in Python to learn. I think so in every programming language. One is for loop and one is while loop. While loop we studied like in last session, and we came to design how we can put some of the scripts, useful scripts. Today we'll see how for loop works. For example, to work for loop, this is a simple concept in Python. If you want to implement a for loop, for example, if I can show you here, suppose I have a list. Let me say it number list. Okay. Now, if I want to iterate over for loop, simple thing is for number in number list, print number. You can see here what it is doing right now. It is taking every number from the number list and it is trying to print the number. Same what we can do here. If I can show on. Okay. So what it does here is that we can have any object. So right now we are taking list. So if I draw a list like this, suppose list is our object. One, two, okay. So when the for loop runs, we run for loop on this. So what it will do is that it will first go to this number and then it will try to work on this number. After it has finished working on this number, it will again come back. Suppose this is our for. Okay, then it will go on this number or element. Right now we have a number. Then again it will work on this number. We will have some statement. So for example, we will do some statement here, print or anything, any operation or statement we can do here. Right now our statement is print. So for loop will go in second and then it will execute this statement and then again it will come back to this loop. Same will happen with third, fourth and fifth. Whatever the statement will execute, then third will go here. It will execute this thing. And again, it will come back to for loop. Okay. So this is what is happening. It is printing first statement, second statement, third statement, fourth, and then it is doing everything. So for example, if we want to print, for example, let us say we want to take out all the even numbers in this list. So what we can do is that for number in number list, so number list is our object. Okay, if number mod of 2, so mod of 2 will try to divide it and check the remainder. If mod of 2 is 0, print number is even. Right now same we can do with odd numbers. if number mod of 2 not equals to 0, print number comma is odd. Okay, now this is our iteration. For example, we have another list called OS list, operating system list, and we can have Windows, Ubuntu, Gentoo, Red Hat, CentOS. Okay, so if I do for OS in OS list, print OS comma and equals to, we can just do space. Let's see what it prints. See, now if you want to print everything in straight line, then you can print it this way. You can put just and equals to space, or for OS in OS list, print OS comma and equals to space, and let's see what we can do with separator equals to what this. So we can either have okay. Okay, we'll have to check this one. So with for loop also we can do other, since we have tried to iterate it on our list, we can also iterate it on tuples and dictionaries. Let us try one more time. Let me restart this shell. Okay, now if I have a tuple x equals to 1 comma 2 comma 3, you can apply for loop in this also for I in x, print I. Okay, now for example, if I wanted to print sum of all the numbers in tuple or list, I can just do SUMM equals to 0 for I in x, sum plus equals to I. This will be sum equals to sum plus I. Now let us print sum 28. Yeah, so for example, I is the element of this. As I said, it will iterate over every element. For example, if I want to see, every time it will go in the tuple and it will try to, I is any variable. I is the random variable which we are declaring while working on for loop. So if I do here print I and then sum plus equals to I. Okay, so in the first iteration I is 1, in second iteration Yes, you can use any variable. For example, you can, instead of I, you can also use for a in x, print I. Okay, we printed I, we have to print a. Okay, because see, I was a variable and its last value was 7, so that's why every time it was printing. So how many time it will loop over? It will loop over the length of this tuple or list. For example, length of this x is 7, so now count here: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Here too, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. In this case, in the first iteration, for first time when it iterated over x, then it took the value of 1. It took value of 1. Second time it went and took value of 2. Third, 3 4 5 6 7. So every time it will go inside this loop, take first element, then work on second element until it finishes working on all the elements. Now let us look after dictionary. So we can see example dictionary equals to, and we can put point table of everyone. For example, SRH point is okay, 10, CSK is 7, KXP is 27, KKR is 5, RCB is 3. Okay, so this is our dictionary. So if I perform one example element, example underscore TRONARY dot items. Okay, so this is, we get all the items in the tuple. Now what we can do is that if we iterate over, for example, so we can take any variable. So we can do IPLT in example dictionary, print IPL underscore team. So you can see here it printed all the IPL teams which we have printed here, but it didn't print the point of that team in the point table. So what we can do is that from IPL team in example so print IPL underscore team comma, you can say okay. In this way we can print too. This is the team and its point table. So this is how we iterate over dictionaries. Apart from that, let us look after some product script also. Example, we have a list called number list. Again, how you can implement a product. Okay, so now let me say product equals to 0 for num. Now I am taking variable as num instead of any I or number, so I can implement num equal num star equals to because product is 0. So if you multiply anything by 0, it will be 0. So what we can do here is that we can, instead of writing 0, we can put product as 1. So right now if I do okay, let me check now what is product. So if you multiply all this, you will get this value. There is another thing, like if you want to just implement some, you can just print some function, and if I do number underscore list, it automatically prints number. So there is some function implemented in Python, you can do it automatically. If you calculate the sum of all this variable, it will come to 45. I don't know if we have any multiplication function. Okay, let me check. It is not showing here. It might be having input, but some function is very handy because we do sometime implement some in our script. So instead of writing anything from scratch, you can directly use Python functions. Benefit of using Python functions is that it executes in C language, and it is very handy to, you will see the performance when you will implement this kind of function, when you will use built-in functions instead of using your own custom functions for this kind of things. Apart from this, what we can do is that we can also look after your strings. So if I have a string, for example, x equals to name equals to, for example, John Abraham. So even if I can do n in name print n, okay, so it will iterate over every single alphabet of the name and it will try to print it. So if I just do for n in name print n comma, okay, now if I do separator equals to no, end equals to, so it has printed every character with a space. So you can also implement this thing for loop on strings. So if you have a string and if you want to implement for loop on that, then also you can implement. For example, let us see if we have some string, like if I say sequence 1, if you want to see, like I have spam and sequence 2 equals to scam. Okay, now if you want to see like what are the common elements in both sequence 1 and sequence 2, so what you can do is that for element, or you can say string will, for string is the letter, or I can say character, for character in sequence 1, if character in sequence 2, okay, we'll have to create a list. Let us say common characters equals to, for character in sequence 1, if character in sequence 2, okay, what you can do, common characters dot append character. Okay, what it is saying, common character is not defined, because here we have defined common characters, not character. So again we can name sequence is not, okay, I will copy this time. It is sequence 2. So many typos today. Or I can write here is sequence 2. Okay, so let us see what happens now if I print common character. It's characters. Don't use so big variable name unless you're required to do it, because the thing is that it can sometimes make very much typos. Okay, so in both spam and scam, S and A and M are the same elements. So this is how you can get the common alphabets in any of the string. If we change this to SEQ1 equals to Ashok, this is case sensitive, right? Ashoka Charya something. Okay, and if I do Chanakya Guru, so let us see how many elements we can get. What you can do is that we can copy this one. So let us print now common characters. What happened, why you are seeing here spam is Sam also is that because common characters already had Sam. So when we did an append, so it appended it instead of creating a new dictionary. So that's why you're getting this one. So if you are running this operation while seeing this video, what you can do is that you can just declare common characters once again with an empty list if you want the real values. So here are the common characters for both sequencer, but the problem is that there are too many. What it has done is that if there are too many A's are repeating, then it has put that also, but we don't want, we want unique characters, we don't want multiple A's and all, etc. So what you can do is that common, if you want to just remove the common element, just do it list set. We will go through sets in advanced classes, but you can, for now you can just implement like this. See, now it has removed every common elements. Now we don't have multiple A's and etc. So this is the function which you can write in the list if you want to remove common elements and have unique elements. Okay, so we have done here for loop. There are many things to do in for loop, nested for loops and all etc., which we can take in advanced class. But yeah, for today this is good. You can go through it and work on it. Try to implement subtraction function or joining the list elements and all etc. with the for loop. Thank you. Thanks a lot. If you have any question, you can ask. No, I think no questions. Thank you, guys.